Hello everyone and welcome back to more Blackest Night. This week we are continuing the main story of Blackest Night. This is part 2. If you haven't seen part 1, then go back and watch that before continuing to watch this video. We begin with Green Lantern issue 46, so let's get straight into it. The Black Lanterns are currently invading Zamaron, but the Queen's main priority is to stop the Sapphire entity Predator from escaping. Right now, it is trapped inside the Star Sapphire's battery. Sinestro and Carol Ferris are fighting together against the Black Lanterns. Sinestro refers to Ppwrr and talks about him, saying that Abin believed in the Blackest Night. He had foretold it for so long, and nobody believed him, including Sinestro. And he says that that was one of his biggest mistakes, was not believing his closest friend, because now he is living the Blackest Night. And it turns out Ppwrr was right all along. And right now, Sinestro is having to fight Ppwrr, Abin's son. And Ppwrr hates Sinestro because he didn't believe his father. This Sinestro Corps member called Slush, who seems to have an acidic, gooey body, envelops the Black Lanterns like Ppwrr, but because you can't kill Black Lanterns, the rings just reattach to them and they break their way out of Slush. So Sinestro tells him to go and rest his body while he fights the Black Lanterns. And that is when Hal Jordan, Indigo 1, and Indigo's second-in-command all arrive. And Hal is really annoyed at Indigo because she suddenly teleported him away from Earth, where Barry Allen is and all of his friends, and has left them to fend off Black Lanterns on Earth. And he's like, I want to be back where my friends are. I want to help them. And Indigo's like, we don't have time. We need to be here because Zamaron is in a lot of danger. And then she sends her second-in-command away to go and warn the Green Lanterns on Oa. Carol and Hal fight together, where Hal is surprised that she has become a Star Sapphire again, and he asks her why, and she says that Hal needed help, and so she agreed so that she could help him. And Hal is like, how many times have I told you not to do this, Carol? Not to put on that costume or that ring because it's so dangerous. And she's like, as many times as you've asked me to pay for the bill. Referring to times when Hal was low on money and was known for asking people to pay for him and promising to pay them back. Then Sinestro breaks up their little conversation and is like, oh, your love, it's truly so inspirational. And he fights Hal, but obviously they do need to help each other fight against the Black Lanterns. There's no point fighting amongst themselves. Indigo tries to tell Sinestro that they need to work together, and Sinestro is like, you're making a brave mistake, Sapphire. And she's like, I'm not a Sapphire. I'm an Indigo tribe member. And some terrible stuff is probably going to go down, and as soon as she says that, Black Lantern rings appear, a couple of them. They smash straight into the Sapphire Lantern, and inside the Sapphire Lantern are Prince Khufu and Tiara, the original incarnations of Hawkman and Hawkwoman from Egyptian times. Their love is what powers the Lantern of Love, which is pretty incredible. It's a great idea from Johns. And because they are dead bodies, they are possessed by the Black Lantern rings, become Black Lanterns, smash the Lantern apart, and by smashing the Lantern apart, they free the Predator, which is not what they wanted. They're like, hey, we need to stop this Predator from being freed. And then it immediately gets freed. Like, the Queen totally jinxed that. And Indigo's like, ah, crap, well, I guess we better get out of here. And so she teleports her, Hal, Carol, and Sinestro away from Zamaron as the planet is destroyed by the Lantern exploding. The Guardians sense this, and they send Black Lanterns after our group that has just left Zamaron. We cut to Jon Stewart once again looking at the planet Xanshi as it has come back as a Black Lantern. It's like an anime thing where this scene is progressing at a snail's pace, where he hears somebody calling to him. It's like, I can help you save them. It's like, yeah, I know. What the hell am I thinking? And then he just flies into Black Lantern Xanshi to see whose voice this belongs to that's beckoning him. It turns out Indigo has brought everybody to Ppwrr, and Sinestro's like, why would you dare bring me back to my planet? And Indigo's like, yeah, it's because you love it so much that I decided to bring you here, because it's time that you faced your rival. And the person she is referring to is Mongol, because this whole time, Mongol has been trying to take over the Sinestro Corps, and now finally, Sinestro has a chance to get his revenge. But he gets caught off guard by Mongol. It's pretty funny. Mongol just hits him, sends him flying. And they're like, why didn't we warn Sinestro? Let him prepare beforehand? And Carol's like, because this is funny. So they all start fighting Mongol, and then Sinestro shoots at our heroes, and is like, this is my fight. Stay away from him. And he starts fighting Mongol. Anyone responsible for harming the people of Ppwrr in any way, yellow ring or not, will answer to me as Mongol will, with their blood. But Mongol has faced Superman. He's really powerful, and he just beats the shit out of Sinestro, because Sinestro cannot beat Mongol in a one-to-one fight. You're thinking that he's going to somehow gain the upper hand, and he does, but not through pure strength. Mongol has his foot on Sinestro's head and is about to crush his head. The other heroes try to save him, but Sinestro is like, I said, this is my responsibility. And he creates a construct of Ppwrr, which stops them from saving him. And then he just keeps getting the shit beat out of him by Mongol, repeatedly smashing him in the head. It seems that's what your life is strung together with. Failures. Who did you fail? Your friends? Your family? Your world? Yes, and above all, yourself. The people of Ppwrr will never utter your name again. There will be only the Mongol Corps, and only Mongol. And then Sinestro is about to get his head crushed by Mongol. And then he's like, did you think I would be so stupid as to create my own Lantern Corps and not give myself the ability to override anyone else's control over their lantern rings? Of course I did that. And so he uses Mongol's lantern rings against himself. He forces Mongol to create a whole bunch of spear constructs, and then Mongol spears himself with his own constructs. It's amazing. You just see them stabbing through his body. His arm falls off. It's pretty nasty. And then Mongol falls onto the ground, and Sinestro's like, you look like you need a recharge. And then the Sinestro Corps lantern battery falls on top of Mongol, and his rings come out of the bottom, and Sinestro takes all the rings. He's like, these are mine. And you think that he's killed Mongol, but he hasn't. He's taken over the Sinestro Corps, and he has trapped Mongol inside the battery. The reason he's done this is so that Mongol can't become a Black Lantern, and he says that once the Black Lanterns are dealt with, then he will let Mongol die. And then suddenly, a ship crash lands in front of them, and in that ship is Ppwrr and Aren, Abin's sister, and Hal is just like, Aren? Who the hell is Aren? Because we know that Sinestro and Aren were a thing, that Aren is his lost love, but Hal doesn't know about that. We move over to Green Lantern Corps, where Sorinik and Iolande are fighting against the Black Lanterns in the medical bay. The Black Lanterns are trying to steal the hearts of everyone that is hospitalized at the moment. Sorinik and Iolande try their hardest to stop the Black Lanterns from regenerating, but one of the Black Lanterns regenerates through one of the victims and pulls his heart out, and the same happens with all the other ones as well. I counted 6 people in total here who have had their hearts ripped out. The Black Lantern starts to regenerate around Sorinik, and to stop herself from dying, she has to use her lantern shield. She bursts through the Black Lantern And then a whole bunch of Black Lantern rings come flying into the building and start taking over all of the recently deceased victims. Meanwhile, Guy Gardner faces off against Kahan, the Black Lantern version. He has been stabbed through the leg by Kahan's horn and can't get off of him. So what he does is he uses his Green Lantern energy to cut the horn off. And then he's like, Kahan, old pal, I don't know what these damn black rings are going to do to your corpses, but I swear to God, I'm gonna find out and toast him good. And then he smashes down on top of Kahan, destroying him. And as Kahan regenerates, Guy quickly leaves. He's like, I sense that there are Yellow Lanterns that are in danger right now, and I gotta go help them. Soranik and Iolande blast apart all of the Black Lanterns, and while they regenerate, they quickly go and get all the other hospitalized people and put them in little protective shields, and they're gonna take them to Mogo so that they can be as far away from the Black Lanterns as possible. But on their way there, Soranik sees Kyle Rayner fighting against Black Lantern Jade, and Iolande tells her to go and help him, and she will take them to Mogo. Jade is about to rip out Kyle's heart, but he is saved by Soranik, and then the two of them fight Jade together, and Jade is like, no doubt about it, love is in the... I said there's nothing in the air but the smell of the rotten corpse you've stolen. And I would say someone here is motivated by some pretty intense feelings to protect you. You got it bad, don't you, girl? They tell Jade to shut up, but Jade talks about everything that Kyle has told her recently, and then she starts saying to Soranik that, like his other girlfriends, she is going to die, and Soranik is like, shut up, and punches her in the face. And then we cut to Arisia fighting against her family. They're like, oh, if you just let us eat your heart, then you can become one of us. They crash into the Hall of the Lanterns, and it's really sad because we see all these holograms of Arisia's family because they were all Green Lanterns. And Arisia is like, you are ruining the names of my family members. They were all honorable Green Lanterns for hundreds of years. It's like, I'll give you a family reunion. She creates lantern constructs of her family to fight the Black Lanterns. You're all just black holes sent by someone bent on destroying the core, and you're not sucking me in. I think it's time for that group hug after all. And she creates a massive group hug out of a construct which crushes all of these Black Lanterns, and she leaves before the rings can regenerate again. Meanwhile, Kilowog is ordering all of the rookies to help him fight the Black Lanterns, and all of a sudden it starts raining bodies because all of these rookies have been killed by Black Lanterns. Kilowog wakes up and sees all of these bodies around him, and he's like, no, this can't be happening. It's pretty messed up. And then Ermi shows up, and Ermi was Kilowog's old mentor. He was the one that trained Kilowog to become a Green Lantern. And he starts messing with Kilowog, saying that he is a terrible mentor because he's gotten all of these rookies, he's been training them, and he's gotten all of them killed. And Kilowog gives in to the taunting and just starts beating the shit out of Ermi. And this whole time, Ermi is saying Kilowog's name wrong on purpose, calling him a Brillawog. You reek of death, Brillawog. And when word gets out how you let the rookies get slaughtered here today, no one will ever want to be a Lantern again. I said, shut up! Power rings will be turned away in droves, and my old core will be wiped away forever. Oa will be a ghost town thanks to you, Brillalog, from the planet of Balawax. Say it, Ermi! And he starts punching Ermi repeatedly in the face. He's like, my name is Kilowog! And he just smashes his arms down on top of him. If you're trying to pulverize my heart, you're doing a nice job. You can have it. I'll find myself another one. And he tries to take Kilowog's heart out. And then we cut to two Green Lanterns, known as Izamot and Vath, who are fighting against Black Lanterns as well, when they get blasted by energy, and as they regain consciousness, they see a whole bunch of Black Lantern children, and these Black Lantern children start attacking them and overwhelming them, and they are about to die when suddenly these children get blasted by Indigo energy as Indigo One's second-in-command arrives to protect them.
I feel your pain, Green Lanterns. These vile abominations must now feel their own.
We now move on to Blackest Night Chapter 4, where Barry Allen, Mera, and Ray Palmer are all caught in the headquarters of the Justice League of America, fighting against the resurrected criminals whose bodies were being kept there. They all start chasing after Barry. He runs into a kitchen, I presume, where they all smash through the wall, and Firestorm is there. Jason Rush has currently fused with Black Lantern Firestorm with Ronnie Raymond after Ronnie killed his girlfriend. He catches up to Barry and he tries to take out Barry's heart, but Jason is able to gain full control of Firestorm for a brief moment, and he tells them to get out to safety, and he will try and hold back Ronnie and the other villains. But Ronnie very quickly regains control, and so Barry's like, alright, I'm gonna create a turbine wind to keep these villains back. Atom, you need to use your abilities to get us out here, get us to the nearest call center or something. So Atom calls up 911, and he jumps into the phone with Mera and Barry. This is the first time he's ever done this with somebody else, but he has to give it a shot. He shrinks them all down into the phone, and they emerge in the call center. Meanwhile, we see the Scarecrow, who is seeing the fear of everybody around him due to the Black Lanterns, specifically Black Lantern Azrael. The thing about Scarecrow is that he has used fear toxin so much that he himself can't feel fear, and that is the one thing that he wants to feel. Nothing makes him afraid. He's not scared of the Black Lanterns. Black Lantern Azrael walks right up to him, and it doesn't faze him at all. It's a pretty awesome moment. Scarecrow is definitely one of Batman's more underrated villains out of all of his main ones. He doesn't get utilized a whole lot. There's so much potential there for storylines, and yet we very rarely get Scarecrow storylines in Batman. Meanwhile, Lex Luthor is hiding away in a little bunker because he's killed so many people that all of their Black Lanterns are going to be coming after him. He's talking to the Calculator. The Calculator is like, Cheetah told me that the original Dr. Polaris, who is now a Black Lantern, killed the new one and ripped out his heart, so I have to add that to the heart counter that I have. And that they need to figure out what to do, and Lex Luthor is like, figure that out yourself. We're not working together. As far as I know, it's every man for themselves. And he shuts down the computer, shuts down his bunker, and is just waiting in there. Which is a very Lex Luthor thing to do. Just be like, screw everybody else, I am making sure that I stay safe. We then cut to Keystone City, where one of the darkest, humorous moments I've ever read in a comic happens, where we see this group that call themselves the Rainbow Raiders. They've only recently started operating, they haven't even faced the Flash before, and the world is being taken over by the dead, so they decide that they want to be on the winning side. So they drink glasses that are filled with, I presume, cyanide. Here's to being on the winning side. They drink the cyanide, and all of them collapse, and then we have a little box here that says, as far as we know, only the dead with emotional ties to us are rising, the rest are staying in their graves, which means these guys aren't even going to come back as Black Lanterns because they have no emotional ties to anyone. So they did this for no reason, which is hilarious and super dark. Oh my god. They drank poison for no reason. Fun fact, this scene was cut from the omnibus version of Blackest Night. It is not in there. The pages are cut. You can only see these pages in the essential edition of Blackest Night, or, I'm assuming, the original issues that were released of Blackest Night. I don't know why they were cut. Maybe it was considered to be too dark, but then again, omnibuses have nothing to do... There's no censoring with omnibuses. Barry tells Ray and Mera to try and find Alan Scott while he goes around and tells everybody what's going on. Because they're the only people that really know what's going on with the Black Lanterns. But Mira and Ray need a little bit of rallying, and Barry's like, you are the Superman and Wonder Woman right now, because they're off God knows where, so you gotta step up and take their positions. And Mira's like, but I'm not from this world. I don't feel right stepping up and helping humans when they don't welcome me like other humans, or people like you. And Barry's like, well, I'm not like everybody else either. I'm constantly having to slow myself down. We're all different in different ways, and that is why we rally together, because we relate to one another like that. I look up to Hal Jordan a lot. At this point, Barry just says that Hal refuses to change as a person, and he lets the world change around him, and that they need to do the same, which is kind of wrong, because Hal has changed as a person in the past. It's just, John's ignored that. But either way, Barry's speech is enough to rally them to help, and so the Atom calls Michael Holt, who was a member of the JSA, and they can't get through to him, so they decide to jump through the phone to wherever the JSA are, and when they arrive there, they find that the JSA are in the middle of Manhattan fighting against a bunch of their old friends. Meanwhile, Barry runs across the world at super speed, telling everybody what's going on, how to defeat the Black Lanterns. You gotta use Green Lantern light against them, but if your light is strong enough, you may be able to hurt and destroy the Black Rings. Alan Scott uses his energy to fight against the Black Lanterns. It's not quite the same as Green Lantern energy, but it's enough to do something. And that is when the original Atom, Al Pratt, shows up, who is the father of Damage, and so they have to fight him together. The Atom and Damage both fight Al Pratt, where Al locks fists with Damage, and Damage is trying to stop Al from using his radioactive punch, or his atomic punch. The Atom shrinks inside of Al and grows to normal size from inside of him, ripping him open. And it is through this act that he convinces Damage to let go of anything that's troubling him when it comes to fighting these dead relatives and friends, and to just do what he does best and be a hero. And Damage is like, yes, you're right. That's exactly what I need to do. I'm getting too carried away with what's going on inside my brain. I just need to focus on doing the right thing. And then his heart gets ripped out. Yeah, dramatic. Damage is dead. He gets his heart ripped out by Jean Loring, Ray's ex-wife. My sweet, sweet Ray, this will be twice I've turned your little world inside out. As Barry is running, something attacks his mind. He finds himself outside Coast City. Like, something is going on in Coast City. You guys need to get here now. And we see that the Guardians are transporting the Black Lantern to Coast City. Because Barry sees Black Hand, and then the entire morgue that Black Hand is standing outside of, his family morgue, explodes. And the Black Lantern appears in the middle of it, and then Black Hand says, Nekron, rise! Nekron rises from the grounds, and he says, Coast City, rise! And we see all of these black rings start entering the ground as all the citizens of Coast City rise from the dead as Black Lanterns, and we see Nekron himself for the first time in his physical form. Now, Jeff Johns did not create Nekron. Nekron was originally created back in the 80s, but this will be the form that he would be known for going forward. I like that he has a giant scythe that looks like a Black Lantern. Because of course he has a giant scythe. He's essentially another Grim Reaper, because DC has like 5 of those. So yeah, things have really gone south. We switch back to Green Lantern, where we find ourselves on Yzmalt, where the Red Lanterns are facing the Black Lanterns and the Green Lanterns, because they're not quite working together yet. Atrocitus then comes face to face with some old friends. Apparently these guys knew Atrocitus before he became a Red Lantern. They didn't see things the way that he did. They didn't have the same goals, the same drive, and he killed them and then used their blood to create the Red Lantern battery. And now that they can sense the rage inside of him, they want to get their revenge, and they rip his heart out. Just straight up, Atrocitus gets his heart ripped out. Now you think that this would be the end of him, except when the Black Ring tries to take control of him, it can't, because Atrocitus's ring creates a new heart for him inside his body. I guess because it's a red ring, so it can create a realistic looking heart. So it seems the Red Lanterns are immune to the Black Lanterns and the Black Rings, and so he fights against the Black Lanterns alongside one of the Green Lanterns that he was fighting before. Meanwhile, on Korrigar, Sinestro and Hal Jordan face off against Abin Sur and Arryn Sur. Sinestro fights Arryn, his old love, while Hal fights Abin Sur. And Carol Ferris and Indigo 1 kind of just don't really do anything. They stand aside while these other two fights are going on. Abin gets up in Hal's face and is mocking him, saying that I can't believe a human became Green Lantern because you failed so many people. You watched millions of people die, and you've also killed a lot of people because you were Parallax. And Hal is like, yeah, you can throw that in my face. You can throw anything you want in my face, all the millions of mistakes that I've made. But see, I've come to terms with those things, like Parallax and Coast City. I was obsessed with the future. You ignore it. We could not be more different, yet the ring chose you. Why? You may have found purpose in the core as I did, but you have no path. You take flight without a destination. So what does it matter if you die tomorrow or today? Arryn does the same to Sinestro, trudging up their past, trying to make him feel guilty. Everything that's brought you to this point, has it been worth my death? Has it been worth losing the only woman you've ever loved? Sinestro's like, I don't. And before he can finish his sentence, Green Lantern energy comes through, hits Arryn. He's like, Jordan, no! I will not be able to channel the Green Lantern's power for much longer without him in direct vicinity. Do not hesitate, Sinestro. And Arryn tries to make Sinestro feel guilty again, and Sinestro, unfazed, is about to shoot Arryn with his energy. And then Hal comes crashing in with Abin, and he's like, I'm sure Abin has a lot more to say to all of us, but you'll forgive me if I cut the reunion short. Have some respect for the dead Jordan. There's no need for banter. And they all shoot their lantern energy at the two Black Lanterns at the same time, while one of them is like, whoa, you're Indigo. I know you. But before he can finish his sentence, he gets destroyed, which makes you wonder, how does Indigo know Abin Sur? Is she hiding something? Hal asks who that was, and Sinestro's like, that was Arryn. That was Abin's sister. It's like, who was she to you? Nobody. We know that's a lie. We know that's just Sinestro suppressing all of his emotions and stuff. Sinestro tries to take control of the situation. He tries to be the leader. He's like, right now we gotta go to Yzmolt to find Atrocitus, because we know that the Red Lanterns can survive being killed by the Black Lanterns, because he created a new heart for himself. And Hal is like, no, we've got to go and find the Blue Lanterns and help them, because they are nice guys and I'd rather work with them than the Red Lanterns right now. And Hal Jordan steps up at this moment. He's like, I am taking charge, deal with it. And Sinestro is like, fine. And he tells his Sinestro Corps to look after Korrigar while he's gone. Now, as I believe Carol often said to you, Jordan, as long as you're in the self-appointed pilot seat, try not to crash. I just love the relationship between Sinestro and Hal. It's so good. Meanwhile, John Stewart lands on Sanshi, where he finds a lantern, and then we see a Black Lantern watching him, talking to him, saying that salvation is right here. And this Black Lantern is also wearing a Green Lantern ring. Now, I have a feeling I know who this is, but I won't say it, just in case. Meanwhile, on Odin, the Blue Lanterns are facing the Orange Lanterns, because the Orange Lanterns are trying to steal the Blue Lantern. But then the Blue Lanterns gain a power-up. They're like, whoa, why are our rings suddenly working really well again? And it's because Hal Jordan, Sinestro, Carol, and Indigo 1 have all arrived. The Orange Lanterns are about to fight them, but then they disappear. They're like, whoa, what happened to the Orange Lanterns? And we see Larfleeze on Okara running away from all of the Black Lanterns of the people that he's killed. He is about to be killed by them, but they suddenly get destroyed by Atrocitus. And he's here because he wants Larfleeze' battery. So I think we might get a bit of a Larfleeze versus Atrocitus fight. Back over to Green Lantern Corps, and we learn that the name of Indigo One's second-in-command is Monk, and he is helping Vath and Isamot fight against the Black Lanterns, and he explains to them that the Black Lanterns' goal is to destroy lantern batteries. That is their main goal, because they've just destroyed Zamaron and its lantern battery, and now they are trying to take the emotion, because when they steal people's hearts, they steal them so that they can eat them and gain the emotion, and once they get enough emotion, they will then destroy the battery. He also explains to them how the Indigo Lantern powers can kill Black Lanterns if they are mixed with other Lantern abilities, and he also explains to them that you can't do a large range of light against Black Lanterns because it dilutes it too much. It has to be focused blasts to kill them. Because Vath is like, hey, why can't we just make a big mirror over the planet and then just shine light over everybody? And Monk's like, it doesn't work that way. It needs to be condensed. All of a sudden, the Black Lanterns that they're fighting stop because they have reached 100% power level, or willpower. And now the Black Lanterns are just standing there not doing anything. And we cut to Oa, where the same thing is happening there. Kilowog is about to get his heart taken when the Black Lanterns just stop. And he just leaves. And all the other Black Lanterns look at him. And Kilowog is like, what the hell are you looking at? What, did you think you were special? When you signed on to be a Green Lantern rookie, you knew exactly what was going to happen. You knew that death was a high possibility. What, did you think that your name wasn't gonna be on those murals? They almost certainly were, because if there's one thing that Green Lanterns do, Green Lanterns die. Lanterns die. It's a pretty emotional moment for Kilowog. It's him dealing with his anger and feelings about how many Lantern rookies and just fellow Lanterns in general have died around him, including himself at one point. It's kind of broken him. But the Black Lanterns, they just all leave. Same one happens to Jade's Black Lantern. You know, Soranik is planning on destroying Jade's Black Lantern, but she starts flying away with Soranik's hand still in her head. So they quickly blow up Jade's head so that she can get her hand out. And then Jade's corpse just leaves. And where are the Black Lanterns going? They're heading straight towards the central power battery to try and destroy it. And we have some Lanterns there who are protecting it, like Guy Gardner, Monk, Vath, Isamot, Kilowog, and Kyle Rayner and Soranik have all arrived, so they all start protecting the central battery from the Black Lanterns. Salak is ordering everybody around. Then the Black Lanterns start creating a giant black construct that looks like a big, huge, monstrous thing that grabs onto the central battery, rips it out of the ground. So as a last-ditch effort, Kyle tells Salak to free Science Cell 8985. There is a Red Lantern currently being kept prisoner called Vice, and Kyle wants him to be freed so that he can help them fight the Black Lanterns. So they grab his little cage that he's in, they throw it into the dark matter created by the Black Lanterns, and Vice breaks out and he starts just tearing through Black Lanterns. And it's all going great, but then the Alpha Lanterns have to come and ruin everything because Chassalon comes in and he's like, you are an escaped criminal, you must be punished. He kills Vice, ruining everything, and then Chassalon gets attacked by Black Lanterns, and Salak is like, Chassalon, you gotta get out there, they're gonna kill you. And Chassalon doesn't listen to him, and he just gets his body ripped apart by Black Lanterns. They pull out his central power battery, which is an Alpha Lantern battery. Kyle grabs it. He's like, alright, I'll handle the battery. He grabs the battery. He starts leading the Black Lanterns away. He's like, come on, follow me. They all start flying after him. He begins shooting energy out of his power ring. He contacts Guy and Soranik and is like, Guy, Soranik, I love you, Soranik. She's like, what? Kyle, where are... And you too, Guy. You've been like a brother too. And then the power battery that he's holding explodes. The energy around him hits all the other Green Lanterns, knocking them all out, and destroys all of the Black Lanterns in the vicinity. Just a huge, massive explosion. And then we are left with Kyle Rayner's dead body. That's right, Kyle Rayner has died. He sacrificed himself to save everybody. And we see that his power ring is already searching for its next host. It's probably going to end up on Mogo, because they did say that all power rings should go straight to Mogo now, because they don't want to put any rookies in this situation, which kind of goes against what Kilowog was doing, where Salak was like, send all new power rings to Mogo. We don't want rookies getting involved in something like this. But then Kilowog has rookies fighting in the war anyway. Maybe it'll get brought up later. Maybe Salak will be like, Kilowog, how could you have all these rookies doing this? Back to Green Lantern, and we find Atrocitus fighting Larfleeze on the planet Okara when a Black Lantern comes up behind them and eats them. However, they are able to fight their way out of it. They explode through the Black Lantern. Atrocitus has a hold of the Orange Lantern, and the reason why he's trying to take it from Larfleeze is because there is a prophecy that the Greed Lantern, or somebody consumed with greed, will betray everybody. And so he's trying to get ahead of the prophecy by stopping Larfleeze right now. They are chased by a bunch of Black Lanterns, and Atrocitus is like, who are all these people? And Larfleeze explains that they are the dead bodies of his Orange Lanterns. And Atrocitus is like, well, they don't belong to you anymore, and starts attacking them with his powers. But then Larfleeze takes the Orange Lantern back and smacks him across the face. He's like, my wonderful Orange Lantern does as well your red ring, beastie. He attacks Atrocitus further, but then gets distracted by the black ring, because he gets distracted by a new shiny thing. He's like, I want that black ring. So he sends his Orange Lanterns at the Black Lanterns, but his Orange Lanterns can't do anything, and Larfleeze is about to be killed by Black Lanterns, but then he is protected by a bubble created by Indigo 1, because Saint Walker, Hal Jordan, Carol Ferris, and Sinestro have all arrived alongside her. They all start fighting the Black Lanterns, and Larfleeze gets really mad because he made a deal with the Guardians. He promised to never leave Okara as long as the Guardians gave him the blue ring and told him where it is. But what they didn't tell him was that there were going to be blue lanterns protecting it. And the reason why is because there wasn't supposed to be blue lanterns to begin with. The Guardians were sending Larfleeze to Odin in hopes of him destroying the blue light so that it would stop Blackest Night from happening. And when that didn't work, they tried to use Hal Jordan in order to start a war between all of the different lights so that they would extinguish each other, and that way Blackest Night wouldn't happen. Or at least that's just what Sinestro believes. Sinestro is like, I finally realized that Blackest Night isn't what Abin Sur was trying to stop. It was you, Hal Jordan, because you're the reason Blackest Night happened in the first place. And Atrocitus is like, no, Sinestro. It was me! And as we know, Atrocitus and Abin Sur were fighting each other the day that Abin Sur died. And so now everybody is fighting Atrocitus because he's gone crazy, and Saint Walker tries to calm him down by using his Blue Lantern energy to show him a hopeful possibility of a future, which seems to be Atrocitus as a Blue Lantern alongside somebody who seems to be the same species as him. Saint Walker mentions that he knows that Atrocitus has witnessed some kind of great loss. He has felt some kind of loss. Before he can continue talking, Hal shuts his mouth by creating a construct around it, and then he tells Atrocitus and Larfleeze that if they want to live, they're going to have to come with them. He's not threatening them, but Sinestro is threatening them, because he says that he has put a whole bunch of bombs around Okara, so if Larfleeze doesn't help them, he will blow them up and destroy his home. And then he turns to Atrocitus and says, as for you, I will give you my services. After all this is over, the two of us will team up and we will kill the Green Lantern Corps. And Atrocitus states that he doesn't want to team up with the Sinestro Corps. He wants to kill everybody. He wants to kill the Green Lantern Corps, the Sinestro Corps, all of them. And he especially wants to kill the Guardians. He slashes Sinestro in the chest, and Larfleeze comes up behind him and says, I don't care anymore about this world. I want my own Guardian. Give me my own Guardian. Suddenly, the fight is broken up as Indigo learns that the Black Lanterns have met their goal of getting power levels to 100%. Without a moment to waste, she uses her abilities to teleport everyone to Sector 666, the planet Riot, and this happens to be Atrocitus's home planet. And he states that the Guardians killed all of his people, specifically the Manhunters. The Manhunters came to his planet and they killed everyone, even though they hadn't done anything. And this is where we see a softer side, a more tragic side to Atrocitus. And Saint Walker tries to relate to him, saying that a lot of his people died when they went on a big pilgrimage. They all died from accidents and stuff. And Atrocitus is like, that is the big difference between us. Your people died by accident. My people were murdered. This is why he wants to kill the Guardians. And he says, I will help save life by fighting against the Black Lanterns, but once this is all over, I will kill the Guardians. And Larfleeze states that he will only help them if they give him a Guardian. And Sade, Ganthet's fellow Guardian, agrees to be his Guardian. It's after this that they notice that the Black Lantern that was previously on Riot is gone. As we know, it has gone to Coast City, and now these characters are only now realizing it, and they are going to have to go and find the Black Lantern and deal with it themselves. So all of the Lantern Corps colors have officially teamed up. On to Blackest Night, Chapter 5. The Lantern Corps group all speak their oaths to power themselves up to 100%, but Larfleeze doesn't, and everyone is like, what are you doing, Larfleeze? Why aren't you saying your oath? And it's because he doesn't think having a Guardian is enough. He wants a feast. He says, give me a buffet, and then I will help you. Atrocitus is like, just let me kill the little runt. And Saint Walker goes over to Larfleeze and says, as long as you are near me, you will never feel hungry because of my blue energy. And Larfleeze feels his hunger going away, but then he says, ooh, but I could go for some dessert. And then Hal slams his face into his lantern, and Larfleeze is powered up, and they're like, alright, cool, we got him powered up, let's get out of here and find that lantern battery. Meanwhile, in Coast City, Barry Allen faces Nekron and Black Hand, and Nekron states that he doesn't actually want Barry's heart because it means nothing to him, and that they are just going to kill him. And then Wally comes in and knocks over Black Hand, freeing Barry, and so Barry and Wally start running through all these Black Lanterns, talking to each other about the situation that's going on. Wally talks about how Kyle mentioned who Nekron is, but that this is new. These black rings, this Black Lantern, this is all new for Nekron. Barry states that they're going to need more help, and Wally's like, hey, we don't have a Flash Corps, but we do have plenty of friends, and we see everybody, from Superman to Kid Flash Bart Allen. Meanwhile, in Manhattan, Damage has been killed by Jean Loring, and Mera fights back at her using her water powers to blast Jean's head apart. Damage unfortunately turns into a Black Lantern, and then Jean grabs Ray and Mera and is like, let's take a trip, Little Mermaid, under the sea. And she goes into the Black Ring, into Damage's Black Ring, with Adam and Mera. As all of the heroes fight the Black Lanterns, Bart explains to Barry that Dove has the ability to channel the white light for some reason. She is connected to the same white light that the other Lantern Corps are trying to find. He also has to explain to Barry that Dove is a woman because the Dove he knew died. He also explains to Barry that Donna got bitten by a Black Lantern and was feeling really weird, and this is Jeff Johns kind of acknowledging it, while also having it not mean anything, because this doesn't end up meaning anything. It's just casually mentioned, and then we move on. Barry, Wally, and Bart attempt to free the Guardians. They start pulling them out of the goo that they are trapped in around the Lantern Battery, but the Black Lantern Guardian tries to stop them, and as this Guardian is about to kill Wally West, the Lantern Corps all arrive, the main characters. And they all shoot the Guardian with their energy. Laughley states that he wants this Guardian to be his because it looks so unique. And Hal is like, hey Laughley's, I'd send that one back to the kitchen, she's overcooked. And they all shoot the Guardian with their lantern energy, and they destroy it. So finally this Black Lantern Guardian is dead. And then they decide to go and destroy the Black Lantern itself. So they fly over to it, they start shooting their lantern energy into the Black Lantern, and Nekron isn't fazed by this, because this is all part of his plan. A Black Lantern ring comes out of the Black Lantern as they shoot it with energy. It flies past Bart and everybody else, and Donna starts feeling really weird. She's like, oh, what's going on? Nekron holds up Bruce Wayne's skull, and the ring starts molding with it, and Bruce Wayne rises from the grave as a Black Lantern. Nekron then starts speaking to all of the heroes, Superman, Wonder Woman, Green Arrow, Black Canary, stating that at some point they have all died, and that they are still tethered to him, tethered to death. And Black Lantern Batman starts shooting black rings at everybody, they start attaching to everyone, and Nekron demands that they die. Hal Jordan traps Black Lantern Batman and is like, what the hell, Bruce, what are you doing? And then Nekron states that Bruce has done his bidding, and that he doesn't need him anymore, and Black Lantern Bruce just is destroyed. It's kind of a weird situation where he was a Black Lantern for just a second. We had Black Lantern Batman for like 2 seconds, and now he's gone. But now everybody who has ever died and come back has turned into a Black Lantern. Superman, Kid Flash, Wonder Woman, Donna Troy, Green Arrow, Black Canary, Superboy, Animal Man, and Hal Jordan and Barry Allen have both come back from the dead, and there are 2 Black Lantern rings going straight for them. Will they become Black Lanterns as well? We will find out. Back to Green Lantern Corps, Guy and Soranik are distraught over Kyle's death. They quickly rush over to his body where his ring is trying to get away to fly over to Mogo, and Guy tries to stop it. He grabs onto it while Soranik is trying to resuscitate Kyle, and Guy does everything he can to stop the ring from leaving, but it ends up breaking the chain. He's like, ugh, you can't take it away. He's alive. You'll see. He's... Come back to me, Kyle. Fight it. Dead. You killed him. And then Vice's Red Lantern ring binds Guy, can sense the rage inside of him, and attaches itself to him. You bastards killed him! And Guy transforms into a Red Lantern. And I'm gonna kill you all! But he's not just a Red Lantern, he still has his Green Lantern ring, so he can use both lantern powers at the same time. So he's running around with like a green and red chain, shredding apart Black Lanterns, because he's using 2 powers at the same time. He's able to destroy Black Lanterns, but the rage is consuming him. We see him taking a massive gulp of air, and then he shoots a whole bunch of spikes out of his mouth. Kyle! Soranik continues to try to resuscitate Kyle, while a black ring tries to attach itself to him, and she keeps combating the black ring, swatting it away. Eventually it does land on his hand and starts turning him into a Black Lantern, but that is when Monk comes in just in the nick of time, destroys the Black Lantern ring, and states that she's going to need to resuscitate Kyle now before more Black Lantern rings come. And as soon as he says that, a whole bunch of Black Lantern rings come. And Monk is like, well, I'll do my best to protect Kyle from these Black Lantern rings. And then Kilowog, Arisia, Vath, and Izamot all show up and are like, you don't have to do it on your own, we'll help you. Everybody's teaming up to protect Kyle. Meanwhile, elsewhere on Oa, a character named Crib, who is a member of the Sinestro Corps, she is the mother of all of the children that died and became Black Lanterns. And she is distraught over seeing her children in this kind of state. She's been brought to Oa by one of the Star Sapphires. And she blames the Star Sapphires because they had her captured on Zamaron, and while she was captured there, her children all died. So she tries to kill this Sapphire, but before she can, the Sapphire is taken away to two people that love each other that are currently in a plight. Crib is left contained in Zamaron Crystal, and that is when Red Lantern Guy shows up and starts killing all of the Black Lantern children, and then Crib breaks out of the crystallized gems. She's enraged at what Guy is doing to these Black Lantern kids, and so she attacks Guy, and Guy rips off one of her arms and then shoves it down her throat. And I think this might be her death. I doubt she's coming out of this one. The Sapphire finds Sonic and Kyle and comes up with a solution to save Kyle's life. All she needs to do is join their two hearts together, because if two people are in love, you can join their hearts, they can become one, and then that person will come back to life. So that's exactly what she does. She shoves her hand into Sonic's heart and into Kyle's heart, and then joins them together, and Kyle is resuscitated. His Green Lantern ring suddenly senses him, and Sonic is happy to be reunited with him. His ring arrives, it lands on his hand, and he becomes a Green Lantern again. He's like, oh, it's like I never left. Then everybody lets Kyle know that Guy is currently out of control, that he's been taken over by Vice's Red Lantern ring. So Kyle and everybody decide to go and get the ring off of his hand. But before they do, some help arrives. Unexpected help. Mogo, the planet-sized Green Lantern, has arrived, and Kilowog states that maybe Mogo does socialize, which is a play on the original name of the story. Like, the story that Mogo was introduced in was called Mogo Doesn't Socialize, so it's a little play on that. But yes, arguably, the strongest Lantern has arrived. I'd say he's the strongest purely because of his size. We return to Green Lantern. This is the final issue that we will be covering today, where John Stewart arrives on Black Lantern Xanshi. Finally, he's been spending the entirety of Blackest Night so far just staring at it. Now he's finally going to do something. When he gets there, he sees a whole bunch of Black Lanterns, all the people on Xanshi, and he sees a former Green Lantern known as Drick, who has become a Black Lantern. Drick was originally just a regular Green Lantern, and then he died, and then he became a corpse Green Lantern. Somehow his corpse became a Green Lantern, and now he is supposedly half Black Lantern, half Green Lantern. They don't really explain it, but he seems to be half because he has both costumes on. Now, I was hoping that this issue would focus more on John Stewart's history with Xanshi and his lost love, Ppwrr, because she died, and it makes sense that she would come back as a Black Lantern, and that does happen, but this issue kind of uses Ppwrr and Xanshi as a vehicle to push John's military background as the main focus of the story. John starts fighting the Black Lanterns. First thing he does is he creates a construct of his old army uniform with a gun. I don't know, before this, John Stewart never talked about his military background because it didn't exist, and now all of a sudden, it's all he talks about. And the only constructs he makes throughout this entire issue are just military-based ones, like guns and stuff. So Black Lantern Ppwrr shows up, and all she does in this issue is bring up his military background in order to mess with his mind. And so we get a whole bunch of flashbacks, really gruesome flashbacks of John Stewart in the military. A friend of his got caught in a helicopter crash. The people that they were fighting dragged his friend's body out of the helicopter, started stripping his body of his clothes, and so John, in order to save his friend, started shooting everybody. He started killing lots of people because he had no problem with doing that. I always thought the angle for John's military background would be that, yes, he was in the military, but he hated it. He hated killing people, and it traumatized him. But in this issue, it plays it off as, no, he really enjoyed it. He kept doing it, and he just kind of stopped. And it didn't seem to leave him with any kind of long-lasting trauma because he continues to this day to create constructs related to those days. I can't show it, but John straight up blows off a guy's head in this issue. I really do not like this retcon. I don't think it adds anything of value except shock to John. The main message that John learns from all of this is that he shouldn't blame himself for all of the bad things that he has done. We could have just used Zhanshi and Ppwrr as the focus of that for him to learn that lesson, but instead we had to focus on all of those flashbacks. And with his newfound resolve, John creates a construct of an entire army, a whole bunch of military men, and they all start fighting the Black Lanterns, and John creates constructs of guns and starts fighting them, shooting all these Black Lanterns, and then he sees a Black Lantern child who's like, Green Lantern, I can't find my mother. And this is when John realizes that the Black Lanterns aren't trying to kill him, they're just trying to mess with his head and dredge up old emotions, and he decides that he needs to finally put Zhanshi and Ppwrr to rest, and he's going to need help doing that as well. He can't do it on his own. He knows that the rest of the Corps can help him, but as he tries to draw the Black Lanterns and Zhanshi to the Corps, he comes across planet Earth, and then he decides to warn them that Zhanshi is right outside planet Earth, and that they've got company. And that's where it ends. Not really a fan of that issue. I wish it focused more on Zhanshi and Ppwrr, and not that military stuff, but there's nothing I can really do about that. Besides this issue, I have enjoyed the rest of Blackest Night so far. I hope you've enjoyed Blackest Night so far, and if you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe. Next week, we are back onto Blackest Night tie-ins, so looking forward to that. I hope you are too, and I will see you next week. Have a good one.